Alex Carter stood in the main hall of Nexus Station and felt very small. The massive space stretched above him like a metal sky filled with floating platforms where thousands of beings from across the galaxy moved about their business. His hands shook slightly as he checked his presentation datapad for the 10th time. The Conference of Galactic Sciences happened only once every 5 years, and Alex was the first human ever invited to speak. He had worked for months on his research about human adaptive engineering techniques, but now surrounded by aliens with technology that seemed like magic, he wondered if his work would matter at all. Dr. Sephora Kess watched the nervous human from her position near the quantum physics displays. She was tall and elegant, like most elves, with silver hair that seemed to catch light from everywhere. Her pointed ears twitched slightly as she observed Alex fumbling with his equipment. The human was clearly out of place, but something about his research notes had caught her attention when she reviewed the conference. Material scholar Vextar moved through the crowd like he owned the station, which in many ways he did. The Zephyrian academic had been attending these conferences for over 2 centuries, and his reputation for brilliant theoretical work was matched only by his arrogance toward younger species. He spotted the human immediately and smiled in a way that made nearby aliens step back. Lix finally found his assigned presentation area, a small platform in the engineering section. He began setting up his holographic display system, which looked primitive compared to the crystalline projection matrices used by other presenters. His demonstration models were actual physical objects rather than pure energy constructs, and he could hear whispers from passing aliens about the crude human approach. The presentation began well enough. Alex explained how humans approached engineering problems differently from other galactic civilizations. Instead of starting with perfect theoretical models, humans began with what worked and improved from there. He showed examples of human spacecraft that had been rebuilt so many times they barely resembled their original designs, yet performed better than ever. Zephyra found herself moving closer to listen. The human concepts were fascinating in their apparent simplicity, yet she could see mathematical elegance hidden beneath what others might call crude solutions. The way humans combined incompatible technologies should not work according to standard galactic engineering principles, but somehow it did. Scholar Vextar chose that moment to make his entrance. He approached the platform with a group of followers and began speaking, loudly enough for everyone to hear. His voice carried the authority of centuries of academic achievement, and the dismissive tone he used made Alex stop mid-sentences. Zephyrian scholar pointed at Alex's demonstration models and laughed. He called them barbaric relics from a species too primitive to understand true engineering. He explained to the growing crowd how humans were newcomers to galactic civilization and clearly lacked the scientific understanding needed for serious academic discourse. Alex felt his face grow hot as more aliens gathered to watch the confrontation. Some seemed sympathetic, but most appeared curious to see how the human would respond to such public humiliation. Vextar continued his attack, describing human engineering as desperate jury-rigging that worked through luck rather than skill. The Zephyrian scholar then made his challenge. He offered Alex the chance to prove human worth through something called the Trial of Innovation. This was a formal academic competition where 2 researchers would attempt to solve the same impossible problem using their respective approaches. The winner would gain recognition throughout the galaxy, while the loser would face professional destruction. Alex looked around at the crowd of alien faces watching him. Some showed pity, others showed anticipation of entertainment, few showed any confidence in human abilities. The smart choice would be to apologize and withdraw from the conference, but as he looked at Vextar's smug expression, something inside him hardened. He thought about all the human engineers who had solved impossible problems throughout history. They had built machines that flew before they understood aerodynamics. They had reached space using computers less powerful than pocket calculators. They had survived and thrived on a dangerous planet that tried to kill them every day. Alex stepped forward and spoke clearly so everyone could hear. He accepted the challenge. The crowd murmured with surprise and excitement. Few species were brave or foolish enough to challenge Vexstar in his area of expertise. But Alex had made his choice, and there was no backing down now. Zafira felt a strange excitement as she watched the human accept what seemed like certain defeat. There was something in his eyes that reminded her of the ancient elven warriors who had faced impossible odds with calm determination. Perhaps this conference would be more interesting than she had expected. The terms of the trial of innovation were set. They would have 1 week to prepare, and then 3 days to solve the infinite engine problem. This was a theoretical challenge that had stumped galactic scientists for generations. Create a sustainable energy source capable of powering an entire dying world. As the crowd dispersed, Alex remained on his platform, staring at his simple demonstration models. He had just committed himself to a battle he could not win using conventional methods, but humans had never been conventional, and that might be exactly what this challenge needed. Jafora approached him after most of the other aliens had left. She did not offer encouragement or advice. Instead, she simply said that she would be watching with great interest. Alex nodded and began packing his equipment, already thinking about how to approach an impossible problem. Though Conference of Fools had begun, and humanity's reputation in the galaxy now depended on one engineer willingness to roll up his sleeves and prove that sometimes the best solutions came from the most unexpected places. Alex spent the first day after the challenge walking through every workshop and laboratory. On Nexus Station, he studied alien technology with the hungry eyes of someone who knew he was outmatched but refused to give up. The infinite engine problem had been unsolved for 300 years, and he had 1 week to prepare for what everyone expected to be his public humiliation. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez arrived on the second day aboard a small Earth military transport. She found Alex in Workshop 7, surrounded by borrowed equipment, and looking like he had not slept. Maya was a military engineer who had worked with Alex on several impossible projects back on Earth. She took one look at the situation and began unpacking tools that were definitely not standard diplomatic equipment. Kira Thorne appeared shortly after Maya, with an expression that mixed concern and barely controlled panic. The human diplomat had been trying to convince Alex to withdraw from the challenge for 2 days. She explained that failing publicly would damage Earth's reputation for generations, and might even affect trade agreements with other worlds. But Alex just nodded and continued working on his preliminary designs. Dr. Sephora Cass found herself returning to the workshop areas more often than she had planned. She told herself it was simple academic curiosity, but something about the human approach fascinated her. Most researchers would be buried in theoretical calculations by now. Instead, Alex was taking apart alien devices to understand how they actually worked, rather than how they were supposed to work. Dr. Lysa Moonwhisper joined Zephyra on the 3rd day. Her biotechnician partner was curious about the human who had caused such a stir among the conference attendees. Lysa had reviewed Alex's published research and found it surprisingly sophisticated despite its apparent simplicity. The way humans integrated biological concepts into mechanical systems was unlike anything in standard galactic engineering. The trial parameters were announced on the 4th day, and they were worse than Alex had feared. The infinite engine problem required creating a sustainable energy source that could power a planet-sized civilization for at least 1,000 years without external fuel sources. The energy output needed to be stable, predictable, and safe, even under extreme conditions. Scholar Vextar held a press conference that same day. He revealed that he had been working on this exact problem for over 60 years, with access to the finest laboratories and unlimited funding. His theoretical solution was nearly complete, and he expected the trial to be merely a formal demonstration of Zephyrian intellectual superiority. Alex watched the press conference from his workshop and felt the weight of impossible expectations. Maya stood beside him, cleaning tools with the methodical precision of someone preparing for battle. She had seen Alex solve impossible problems before, but never under such public scrutiny. With so much at stake, Zafira entered the workshop that evening, carrying a small data crystal. She explained that it contained public research data about Saphirian energy matrices, but her tone suggested there might be additional information. Included, the elf scientist seemed genuinely interested in seeing what Alex would create, even though conventional wisdom said he had no chance of success. Alex began his real work on the 5th day. Instead of trying to build a perfect theoretical engine, he started with the assumption that any real solution would be messy, imperfect, and require constant maintenance. This was the human way to build things that worked despite being flawed rather than things that were perfect but fragile. Maya proved invaluable as a second pair of hands and someone who understood human engineering philosophy. She brought experience with battlefield repairs where elegant solutions meant nothing if they could not be fixed under fire. Alex needed that mindset, because the infinite engine problem was ultimately about survival. Began visiting the workshop to observe human problem-solving techniques. She was amazed by how Alex approached each component as part of a living system rather than isolated pieces. Elven biotechnology worked on similar principles, but humans applied biological thinking to purely mechanical problems in ways that seemed impossible. Sci-Fi shared more research data on the 6th day, including some experimental findings that had never been published. The information revealed weaknesses in traditional Zephyrian energy systems that most academics considered irrelevant. Alex studied the data with growing excitement as he saw patterns that others had missed. Alex spent the final preparation day not building but thinking. He walked through the station corridors, talking to aliens from dozens of different species. Each culture had attempted the infinite engine problem using their own methods, and each had failed. In predictable ways, Alex began to see that the problem itself might be wrong. The human solution was taking shape in his mind, not as a single perfect engine, but as a network of imperfect systems that supported each other. Maya understood immediately. When he explained it to her, such redundant designs were standard in military applications where reliability mattered more than efficiency. And Lysa arrived at the workshop on the morning of the trial with data crystals containing elven mathematical proofs. They claimed the information was publicly available research, but Alex suspected they had worked through the night to help him. The elf scientist seemed as invested in his success as he was. Alex realized that his approach to the infinite engine problem was fundamentally different from every previous attempt. Instead of creating something that would never break down, he was designing something that would break down constantly but fix itself every time. This concept of controlled failure was uniquely human. Maya finished the final equipment preparations while Alex reviewed his presentation notes. The trial would begin in 6 hours, and he still was not sure his solution would work, but he had learned to trust the human approach of building first and understanding. Latarcure Thorn made one final attempt to convince Alex to withdraw. She had received instructions from Earth government to prevent an interstellar incident at any cost, but Alex gently explained that sometimes the greatest risk was in not taking risks at all. Humanity needed to prove itself worthy of galactic respect. As Alex prepared to leave for the trial arena, he felt the same mixture of terror and excitement that had driven humans to climb mountains, explore oceans, and reach for the stars. He was about to attempt something that 3 centuries of galactic civilization had declared impossible using methods that most academics considered primitive. The real test was about to begin, and Alex Carter was ready to show the galaxy what humans could accomplish when they rolled up their sleeves and got to work. The trial arena occupied an entire section of Nexus Station, with observation galleries that could hold 50,000 spectators. Alex had never seen so many different alien species in one place. The air hummed with excitement and anticipation, as beings from across the galaxy gathered to witness what most expected to be a historical mismatch star. Nina Foster appeared on the quantum communication screen just as Alex entered his assigned workspace. The theoretical physicist had volunteered to provide support from Earth, though the transmission delay meant real-time consultation would be impossible. Her presence on screen drew curious looks from alien observers who seemed surprised that Earth was taking the challenge seriously. Swiftblade stood in the center of the arena, serving as trial mediator. The elven warrior scholar wore ceremonial armor that somehow managed to look both ancient and technological. Her role was to ensure fair play and judge the final results. She nodded to both competitors with the grave dignity of someone who understood that reputations and possibly civilizations hung in the balance. Scholar Vextar occupied the primary workspace with an array of equipment that looked like crystallized mathematics made solid. His theoretical engine design filled multiple holographic displays with equations so complex that most observers could not even read them. The Zephyrian scholar moved with the confidence of someone who had solved an impossible problem decades ago. Alec's workspace looked primitive by comparison. He had requested basic fabrication tools, raw materials, and several items that made the alien observers whisper among themselves. Nobody understood why he needed biological samples, atmospheric processors, and what appeared to be spare parts from various broken machines scattered throughout the station. The 72-hour countdown began with both competitors diving into their work. Vextar immediately started constructing his elaborate energy matrix following theoretical principles that had been refined over centuries. The mathematical beauty of his approach drew admiring comments from academics in the observation galleries. Alex began by completely ignoring the official problem parameters. Instead, he started building small test systems, using principles that seemed to have nothing to do with infinite energy generation. Maya worked beside him, following his lead, even when his methods appeared random to outside observer. Shefia and Lysa claimed seats in the front observation gallery where they could monitor both competitors. Zephyra found herself divided between intellectual appreciation for Vextar, elegant theoretical work, and growing fascination with Alex's chaotic experimental approach. Lysa kept detailed notes on human problem-solving techniques that defied conventional scientific method. By the end of the first day, Vextar had completed 30% of his theoretical engine. According to his projected timeline, his energy matrix hummed with contained power that made nearby instruments register impossible readings. The Zephyrian approach was working exactly as predicted, and spectators began placing bets on how quickly Alex would concede defeat. Alex had spent the same 24 hours building what looked like mechanical garbage. His workspace was filled with jury-rigged devices that combined alien technology in ways that violated basic engineering principles. None of his contraptions seemed to produce any significant energy output, and most observers assumed he was simply experimenting randomly. Dr. Nina Foster tried to provide encouragement through the quantum link, but the transmission delays made conversation difficult. She could see that Alex was following some kind of plan, but from Earth perspective his actions seemed disconnected from any rational approach to the infinite energy problem. The second day brought unexpected developments. Vextar theoretical engine encountered its first serious obstacle when quantum resonance effects began destabilizing his perfect mathematical matrix. He spent hours recalculating equations that had worked flawlessly in simulation, but proved problematic when implemented with real materials. Alex continued building seemingly random devices, but patterns began emerging from his chaos. Each small system solved a specific piece of the larger puzzle, and Maya started connecting components according to principles she recognized. From battlefield engineering, the human approach was becoming clear to those who understood how improvisation could create unexpected solutions. Arya Swiftblade found herself spending more time observing Alex's workspace than monitoring Vextar progress. The human methods violated every principle of proper scientific procedure, yet each improvised solution somehow worked better than it should have. The warrior scholar had seen similar creativity in ancient elven techniques that modern academics had forgotten. Several prominent alien scientists left the observation galleries during the second day, as it became clear that both competitors were facing serious challenges. The infinite energy problem was proving just as impossible as previous researchers had claimed, and many observers assumed they were watching too. Different types of failures. Afira noticed something that other observers missed. Alex was not trying to solve the infinite energy problem directly. Instead, he was building a system that could adapt and evolve to meet changing energy demands. The human approach treated the challenge as a living problem that required living solutions. Lisa shared Zephora observations with other elven scientists who began studying Alex methods more carefully. The biotechnician recognized biological principles in his mechanical designs that suggested a fundamentally different understanding of how complex systems could maintain themselves over time. The third and final day began, with both competitors facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Vextar's perfect theoretical engine continued to suffer from quantum instabilities that his equations could not predict or prevent. The mathematical beauty of his approach was being destroyed by the messy realities of practical implementation. Alex entered the final day with a workshop full of chaotic mechanical systems that looked like they were held together with determination and hope. Maya had learned to trust his methods, but even she was uncertain how the collection of improvised devices would solve anything as complex as infinite energy generation. The breakthrough came when Alex finally connected his various subsystems into a single network. The moment power flowed through his improvised creation, something unexpected happened. The chaotic collection of mismatched devices began working together in ways that defied conventional engineering wisdom. Alien observers fell silent as Alex's energy network began producing stable power output that grew stronger as the system learned to optimize itself. The human solution was not elegant or mathematically perfect, but it worked with a reliability that shocked everyone watching, including Alex himself. Vextar watched his perfect theoretical engine fail catastrophically just as Alex's network achieved stable operation. The Zephyrian scholar had spent decades creating a masterpiece of mathematical precision that could not survive contact with physical reality. His confidence crumbled as centuries of academic superiority proved worthless. Against practical engineering, Safari found herself cheering for the human success despite her usual academic reserve. The elven scientist realized she was witnessing something unprecedented, a completely new approach to engineering that combined biological adaptation with mechanical precision in ways that opened entirely new possibilities. Maya stood beside Alex as his network stabilized and began producing energy outputs that exceeded the infinite engine requirements. She had worked with him long enough to recognize the moment when impossible became inevitable. The human approach had succeeded, where galactic civilization had failed for centuries. Swiftblade prepared to announce the trial results with growing amazement. The human had not only solved the infinite energy problem, but had done so using methods that suggested solutions to dozens of other impossible challenges. The implications stretched far beyond academic competition into the future of galactic civilization itself. The proving ground had lived up to its name, and humanity had proven something that would change everything. The arena fell completely silent as Alex's improvised energy network reached full operation. Readings on the monitoring displays showed power output that exceeded infinite engine requirements, while maintaining perfect stability. Every alien scientist present checked their instruments twice, unable to believe what they were seeing. Scholar Vextar stared at his failed theoretical engine with the expression of someone whose entire worldview had just collapsed. His perfect mathematical matrix lay in ruins while the human collection of jury-rigged devices hummed with impossible efficiency. The Zephyrian scholar had built his reputation on the belief that theoretical perfection was the only path to true engineering success. Alex wiped sweat from his forehead and looked at his creation with the same surprise as everyone else. He had followed human engineering principles without really expecting them to work on such a massive scale. Maya stood beside him, grinning with the satisfaction of someone who had watched impossible become inevitable once again. Anaria Swiftblade approached Alex's workspace to examine the energy network more closely. The elven warrior scholar had witnessed many trials over the centuries, but nothing had prepared her for what she was seeing. The human solution violated every established principle of galactic engineering, yet achieved results that centuries of proper research had failed to produce. Darnina Foster's voice crackled through the quantum communication link from Earth. Her excitement was clear even through the transmission delays. The theoretical physicist could see from the readings that Alex had not just solved the infinite energy problem, but had done so in a way that opened entirely new areas of research. Galactic media representatives rushed to capture every detail of the human success. Their broadcasts would carry news of this achievement to every world in known space. The story was already being called the greatest upset in academic history, and some commentators were suggesting it might mark the beginning of a new era in galactic civilization. Alex began explaining his solution to the growing crowd of alien scientists who surrounded his workspace. He described his philosophy that humans did not build perfect systems, but instead built systems that worked perfectly despite being imperfect. The network was designed to break down constantly, but also to fix itself every time. The concept of controlled failure was completely foreign to most galactic engineers who had spent millennia trying to eliminate all possible points of system breakdown. Alex's approach embraced breakdown as a natural part of operation and used it to make the entire system stronger and more adaptable. Over time, Zafira pushed through the crowd to get closer to Alex's explanation. She could see the mathematical elegance hidden beneath what appeared to be chaotic engineering. The human network used biological principles of adaptation and evolution applied to mechanical systems in ways that created genuinely new forms of technology. Darlisa Moonwhisper stood beside Zephyra, taking detailed notes on every aspect of Alex's design. The elven biotechnician recognized that the human approach represented a fundamental breakthrough in understanding how complex systems could maintain themselves without external control or perfect initial design. Maya provided technical details about specific components when alien scientists asked questions that Alex could not answer immediately. The military engineer had worked on similar adaptive systems for battlefield applications, where reliability mattered more than theoretical elegance or mathematical beauty. Scholar Vextar approached Alex's workspace slowly, like someone walking to his own execution. The Zephyrian academic had built his entire identity around intellectual superiority and theoretical perfection. The human success had destroyed not just his engine design, but his fundamental beliefs about how the universe worked. Talix noticed Vextar's approach and felt an unexpected wave of sympathy for his former opponent. The Zephyrian scholar looked broken in a way that went beyond simple academic defeat. Alex had never intended to destroy someone career or crush their spirit. Despite the public humiliation he had endured, the human engineer began explaining how Vextar's theoretical work had actually contributed to the final solution. Many of the mathematical principles underlying the failed engine had provided crucial insights that helped Alex understand how to build adaptive systems that could survive quantum instabilities. This gesture of intellectual generosity shocked the alien observers, who expected Alex to claim complete credit for his achievement. Instead, the human was demonstrating the collaborative approach that had made his success possible. Maya had provided military engineering experience, while Zephyra and Lysa had shared crucial research data. Vextar listened to Alex's explanation with growing amazement as he realized that his decades of theoretical work had not been wasted. The human had found ways to use Zephyrian mathematical principles in completely new contexts that solved problems the original theory could never address. Lex then made an announcement that stunned everyone present. He declared his intention to share all research data from the energy network freely with every galactic civilization. The human refused to claim proprietary rights over discoveries that could benefit billions of beings across the galaxy. This decision violated every principle of competitive academic research, where breakthrough discoveries were closely guarded to maintain institutional advantages. Alex's explanation was simple: that humanity's greatest strength lay in collaboration rather than competition, and that sharing knowledge made everyone stronger. Galactic news networks broadcast Alex's announcement across the galaxy within hours. The offer to share infinite Engine technology freely sparked intense debates in government councils and academic institutions. Some species were suspicious of human motives, while others sought unprecedented opportunities for advancement. Diurnina Foster coordinated with Earth government officials to establish protocols for sharing the new technology. Her role expanded from theoretical support to managing what was becoming the most significant technology transfer in galactic history. The implications stretched far beyond academic achievement into interstellar politics. Maya revealed that Alex's solution had accidentally solved several other long-standing galactic engineering problems. The adaptive network principles could be applied to space transportation, planetary defense systems, and even biological research applications that no one had previously considered possible. Sephora and Lysa approached Alex together to propose formal research collaboration between human and elven institutions. The two species shared similar approaches to biological engineering that could produce even more breakthrough discoveries when combined with human adaptive principles. Alex accepted their proposal immediately, recognizing that the trial had proven something more important than human engineering capabilities. It had demonstrated that different species working together could achieve results that none could accomplish alone. The infinite engine was just the beginning. Scholar Vextar made his own announcement requesting permission to study under Alex's guidance. The Zephyrian academic had learned humility through defeat and wanted to understand how theoretical perfection could be combined with practical adaptation. The trial arena had become the site of something unprecedented in galactic history. A single human engineer had not only solved an impossible problem, but had done so in a way that brought multiple civilizations together in collaborative research rather than competitive isolation. As Alex packed his equipment, he reflected on how much had changed in just 3 days. He had come to Nexus Station as an unknown researcher from a primitive world, and was leaving as the architect of a new approach to galactic engineering. The human solution had worked not because it was perfect, but because it embraced imperfection as a source of strength. This philosophy would reshape how the galaxy approached impossible problems for generations to come. 1 month after the trial, Alex stood in the command center of the first restored world, watching as his energy network brought light back to cities that had been dark for decades. The planet Kepler-7 had been dying slowly as its star cooled, but human adaptive technology had given it new life that would last for millennia. Dar Grace Park arrived from Earth with the largest diplomatic mission in human history. Her job was to establish the Human-Alien Research Initiative that would coordinate technology sharing between dozens of galactic civilizations. The initiative represented humanity's first major contribution to galactic civilization and marked Earth's emergence as a significant interstellar power. The Silvari Collective had responded to Alex's success by proposing formal research alliances with Earth Council Elder Netza. Starweaver led negotiations that would establish joint research facilities throughout both human and elven space. The agreement represented the closest alliance between any two galactic civilizations in recorded history. Zephyra had taken leave from her position to work directly with Alex on expanding adaptive network technology. Their research station orbited halfway between Earth and the Silvari homeworld, serving as a symbol of the new collaborative approach to galactic engineering. Dar Lysa Moonwhisper coordinated biological research applications for human adaptive principles. Her work had already produced breakthrough discoveries in medical technology that could extend lifespans for dozens of species. The combination of elven biotechnology and human engineering was creating possibilities that neither species could achieve alone. Maya Rodriguez had been promoted to lead the first joint human-alien military engineering corps. Her experience with battlefield adaptation made her ideal for developing defensive systems that could protect multiple species from common threats. The Corps was already planning missions to worlds threatened by cosmic disaster. Scholar Vextar had become Alex's most dedicated student, despite the awkwardness of their reversed positions. The former rival spent his days learning how to combine theoretical perfection with practical adaptation. His transformation from arrogant academic to humble researcher had inspired similar changes throughout Zephyrian society. Alex found himself traveling constantly between research facilities, diplomatic meetings, and worlds that needed immediate help with energy problems. Each success demonstrated that human engineering principles could solve challenges that had seemed impossible just months earlier. The Second World, restored using Alex technology, was a massive industrial center that had been abandoned when its fusion reactors failed. The human energy network not only restored power, but increased efficiency so dramatically that production levels exceeded pre-failure levels. Within weeks, galactic news networks had transformed Alex from unknown researcher into the most famous engineer in known space. His image appeared on broadcasts throughout the galaxy, usually accompanied by stories about worlds saved and problems solved through human innovation. Dr. Nina Foster established the Earth Center for Adaptive Technology that attracted researchers from across the galaxy. Human universities suddenly found themselves hosting alien scientists eager to learn engineering approaches that their own civilizations had never considered. The Third Restored World presented unique challenges that required combining human adaptive networks with elven biological systems. Zephyra and Alex worked together for weeks, developing hybrid technology that could support both mechanical and living energy requirements. Council Elder Nessa Starweaver visited Earth personally to sign the formal alliance agreements. Her presence in human space marked the first time such a senior elven official had traveled to any other species' homeworld. The ceremony was broadcast live throughout the galaxy. Maya Military Engineering Corps faced its first major test when a dying star threatened to destroy an entire solar system. The adaptive network technology was scaled up to planetary dimensions, creating energy shields that protected billions of lives while the star was safely contained. Alex received invitations to speak at academic conferences on dozens of worlds, but he preferred spending time in workshops where real problems needed practical solutions. His approach to fame was characteristically human, focusing on work rather than recognition. Don Grace Park coordinated with alien governments to establish technology, sharing protocols that prevented any single species from gaining unfair advantages. The Human Alien Research Initiative became a model for how galactic civilizations could cooperate rather than competize. Aura and Alex began work on their most ambitious project, yet applying adaptive network principles to interstellar transportation. The possibility of self-repairing spacecraft that could adapt to any environment would revolutionize travel between worlds. Scholar Vextar published research papers that combined his theoretical expertise with human practical methods. His work became required reading at academic institutions throughout Zephyrian space and helped bridge the gap between traditional approaches and new adaptive technologies. The Fourth and Fifth Worlds, restored by human technology, demonstrated that the adaptive networks could handle any type of energy crisis, from stellar collapse to quantum instabilities. Each success added to humanity's growing reputation as the galaxy premier problem-solving civilization. His Moonwhisper breakthrough in biological applications led to medical treatments that could cure diseases affecting multiple species. The combination of human adaptability and elven biological expertise was creating a new field of interspecies medicine. Alex stood before the largest galactic conference in history, addressing representatives from over 200 civilizations, the same beings who had watched his humiliation just months earlier now listened respectfully as he outlined plans for collaborative research that would benefit everyone. Maya Corps had grown to include engineers from dozens of species, all working together to develop defensive systems against cosmic threats. The military applications of adaptive technology were proving just as revolutionary as civilian uses. Council Elder Nessa Starweaver announced plans for the first joint human-elven colony world where both species would work together, developing new technologies in a shared environment. The project represented unprecedented cooperation between galactic civilizations. Final presentation at the conference focused on future challenges that would require collaborative solutions. Climate restoration, cosmic disaster prevention, and interstellar exploration were problems too large for any single species to handle. Alondiar Grace Park revealed that over 50 worlds had requested human adaptive technology assistance. The demand far exceeded current capabilities, but new research facilities were being built throughout human and allied space to meet growing. Nijasefra and Alex concluded their presentation by announcing the next impossible project they planned to tackle together, creating adaptive networks that could terraform dead worlds and make them suitable for any form of life. The audience responded with enthusiasm that would have been unimaginable just months earlier. As the conference ended, Alex reflected on how much had changed since that first day when Scholar Vextar had mocked human engineering as primitive barbarism. Now humanity was leading galactic civilization into a new era of cooperative problem-solving. The trial had proven that human ingenuity, combined with alien knowledge, could accomplish anything. The galaxy was full of impossible problems, waiting for solutions, and humanity had found its place as the species that specialized in making impossible into inevitable. Alex Carter had rolled up his sleeves and shown the galaxy what humans could accomplish. The future belonged to collaboration, adaptation, and the kind of determined optimism that turned challenges into opportunities for everyone.